Harrison, just the crowd, the whole atmosphere, just how big is that for you guys to get this first one under your belt?
It was incredible all night. I mean, I think when guys ran out for layup lines, I think how loud it got in there, I think everyone got chills. I think that was pretty special just for us, just to see the excitement that, everybody had. I think that, guys were just playing off that adrenaline all night. I mean, I think it was a lot of emotions coming in this game, and I think for us to settle in, our first playoff experience together and get a win was big.
Harrison, Darren's done this over here, buddy. Darren's done this all season long. We've seen it here in Sacramento. But for him to do this on a playoff stage in front of the national audience, what do you think that does for him and then for this team moving forward?
I expect nothing less. I mean, there's probably a lot of people, around the country who haven't necessarily been tuned into Kings games, but that's who he is for us. He steps up in big moments all season long. He's poised, makes big shots, big plays defensively. So, it was great to see him in that moment.
Harrison, how big was that run at the end of the third quarter there leading into the fourth? And related, what do you make of the performances you got from Malik Monk and Trey Lyles?
Man, shout out to our bench. I mean, Malik, Trey, Davion, Alex Lynn. I mean, I think everyone just coming in, giving us great minutes was huge for us. I mean, we talked about doing it by committee coming in this game. We knew that they would, obviously, a great offensive team. We knew we had to throw a lot of different bodies and a lot of different people, different matchups, and I thought those guys came in and gave us a huge lift tonight.
Yeah, Harrison, Tony Harvey, NBC Sports Radio. Back to Alex Lynn. It seemed like, you guys were prepping him up in those last couple of games of the regular season. But tonight he really came through. Can you just talk a little bit, about, his work ethics and, and being ready for an occasion like this?
Just a true professional. There was large stretches of the season where Alex wasn't even playing. But he just stayed patient, continued to work on his body, work on his game. Towards the end of the season, obviously got, a few more minutes. But, for him to step in tonight, I think he played like 13 or 14 minutes. But just the lift that he gave us in those minutes, I think, was huge for us.
Harrison, Joe Davidson, Sacramento. For you personally, you had some tough years here as a team leader. How much joy are you feeling to get this one in?
Man, it's crazy. My very first guy traded here. We were pushing for the playoffs, and I had a vision of what it would be like to make the playoffs here in Sac, and it was a lot of long days, just working and just being in the facility, being in these games. And so, to run out there tonight and to see that and to see the fans, it was exciting, but, honestly, it was a little emotional just being a part of that and really just happy for the fans.
Yeah.
Harrison, Sarah Hodges, CBS 13. I feel you just spoke on the emotions, and I felt like I saw that you were showed a little bit more emotions than you normally do. Was that just because it's the playoffs, or was this one maybe a little bit more personal to you?
No, I mean, it's for sure more personal just because, I mean, like I said, it was a lot of long days. Just seeing Bobby, seeing Vlade, seeing Jay Will, on the baseline tonight, that was big, because a lot of those guys, I've talked to them a lot. They were influential and just helped me understand the culture of Sacramento and what the fans have meant. And I think to come up short year after year and then finally have that moment where, like I said, you're able to run out and obviously play and get a win here tonight, it was big.
Sean Cunningham, Fox 40. Harrison, there's so much talk about your guys' playoff experience. Do you think a lot of guys took a big step forward in kind of that maturity tonight?
It's huge. It's funny. It reminded me of my rookie year where you kind of go out there and you don't really know what the stakes are, so you just play loose. And there's some situations where, when you're an experienced team, when you're a veteran team, maybe you look at some situations and you realize, like, this is the moment. But for us, good and bad, we were playing loose tonight. So I think for us, it's just continuing to understand what it's like to play in a series. Obviously they're going to respond. They're going to make adjustments. We're going to make adjustments. That's how the series goes. But, I think it was a good first night for us, just taking a step forward.
HB, you guys had 17 offensive rebounds tonight. They turned the ball over a few more times than you, so you got up 8 more shots. How important were the extra possessions? How important do you think that'll be through the rest of the series?
It's big. I mean, we didn't necessarily shoot the ball particularly well tonight. So anytime, in the playoffs, you can get just extra shots, extra possessions. That may be the one play that makes something happen, whether that's, a layup for Fox or Domas or Kevin gets a shot or Malik gets a shot, whatever it may be. That's huge. And I think for us to just understand the value of possessions, throughout the season, we just have played so fast. And I think in the first half, really, the game's slowing down, us not shooting well. Guys are really kind of able to see that rather than just us talking about it in theory.
Yep. Brendan Nunez, Kings Herald. You guys ran a lot of box and one in that second half. Just how well did the coaching staff have you prepared to show them different looks defensively, and how do you feel like you guys did executing that?
I mean, Mike had, told us before the series, we're going to try different things. You just never know what may happen, who may get hot. So, I think guys, responded to that on the fly well, and we expected to continue to do stuff like that just throughout the series. But, guys were on the details tonight.
Harrison, see this team again in about 48 hours. So, what do you guys got to do, to keep up that momentum?
For us, it's simply just who's going to have a greater will. I think both teams, we know each other extremely well through the regular season. We know who the main characters are. So I think for us, it's just a matter of who's going to do the little details. And I think that's going to determine ultimately each of these games is the rebounds, the turnovers, the 50-50 possessions. Who's going to have a greater desire to come up with those?